Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Moneyball Cards podcast. Today we're going to be taking a look at a prospect breakdown of CJ Abrams, one of the top prospects in the game. And full disclosure, I actually own quite a few CJ Abrams cards, so I might come across as a little bit biased, but this is my own personal opinion and breakdown of the data that has been presented. Now, like all other episodes, I want to show you guys something that I picked up recently. And last weekend I went to the Tampa card show and I picked up some really cool strip cards. And these are all actors in the early 1920s. So you can see these over here, Lloyd and also Douglas Fairbanks. And I paid $2 a piece on them. And I know they're horrible condition. I mean, you can see, like, for example, in this one right here, look at that. And the back, someone marked it number 358, that horrible tear on it. You can see this one as well. Creased all the way through the front. This one, the image is, oh, I should actually show this one. This is technically a real beater. I mean, you can see me through it. There's a hole right there, creases everywhere. But for $2 a piece, you can have some fun picking up some pre-war cards. So those are those for $8. Couldn't pass that up. But today we're going to be taking a look at Abrams, and I'm going to show you guys two websites that I use when I look at prospecting. So I'm going to go on my computer right now. Now I'm going to show you a few CJ Abrams cards. Now, for a base type card, I would recommend getting a Sapphire. He has a normal first Bowman Chrome, but the pop report is more than 4x on these. Currently, there's over 1,200 graded compared to 312 on the Sapphire. And I believe Sapphire is actually a lot less. Just not all the CJ Abrams cards have been graded yet. Now, if you want to take a look at this chart and how it's been going down, CJ Abrams got injured last year, so card prices went down. A ton of modern stuff all across the board, prospecting wise, also went down. And currently we're in an MLB lockout, so I continue prices that go down for a bit. So I wouldn't recommend buying anything right now. I do think they are going to go down still more before the season starts. But you can see the price has gone down dramatically. And at one point, it was at $475. Right now, $260, $235. So about half. That's what I also saw in the first Bowman Chrome. And if you want to look over here, CJ Abrams PSA 10 auto. Put that over here as well. I'm curious if that has gone down in half. So the auto sales as a 10, we have $1,000. We had $1,200. All the way to $600, pretty much $570 and $755. So two big differences in comps. Obviously, 2021 compared to 2022. The last sale has been in January, and the pop on this is 63 compared to even the Sapphire, which I think was 300, and normal, which is 1,200. My recommendation long term is to get a little bit of the scarcer cards with prospects, just because they're printing so much base right now. It hasn't always been the case. Sometimes base cards were good to go after in the past. Obviously, with vintage cards, you really didn't have many parallels, and completely different topic than modern, but not all the base in the past has been printed as much as it is today. So you can take a look at that. If you're going to spend money on prospects, get some rarer cards. Like I said, I do have some Abrams cards in my own PC, some refractors, and I also have a Prism Draft 1/1 autograph, which I picked up super early when I started looking into CJ Abrams. You can find some good deals out there if you start prospecting and taking a look at some of the different lists. Also, with prospect cards nowadays, you make more money moving a card when a prospect's hot than if they end up making the Hall of Fame one day, which is absolutely crazy to me, but that's how the modern market is working right now. So if you guys like this tool, make sure to use code Moneyball. It is market movers. It's absolutely great for data looking at sports cards. But now I'm going to take a look at another tool. This one's 100% free to use, and that is Fangraphs. And this is one of the best sites out there. Fangraphs and Baseball Reference I use religiously when taking a look at the data of players. I like Fangraphs a little bit better for prospects and has a little bit more information. So I'm going to be using that for Abrams. And before I go into all the Abrams information, I want to have a parallel between an Abrams and another player that was a highly regarded prospect a few years ago. Actually, it's been a little bit longer than a few years ago, but at least for me, I remember it being a few years ago, because when I was collecting early in my teens, I remember how hyped up Billy Hamilton was. And I get a lot of parallels between the two. Now, Billy Hamilton was so hyped up because of his speed. People thought he was going to be an absolute speed demon, assuming that he could hit the ball well. Unfortunately, Billy Hamilton didn't live up to what his expectations were just because he couldn't get on base as much. So you can take a look at some of his stats over his full seasons. We can see that his batting average, again, not the best term to use, but a lot of people are familiar with it. You can see right away I was at 368 when he got called up at 22, but 250, 226, 260, 247, 36. So not great. And WRC plus had the high of 150 rookie year, but has not been reaching over 100 since. War-wise, not that great as well. 1 year at 2.7, 1 year at 2.9, but very, very low across the board. But it's a big what if. You can see the stolen bases, 56, 57, 58, 59. Man, imagine if he got on base more often, how many bases that Billy Hamilton could have stolen. But he was a havoc of a player. Don't know how much longer he's going to be in the league. Obviously, he's 31 years old. People lose their speed over time. But you can see also the build of Hamilton, 6 foot and 160 pounds. So have that in the back of your mind before we take a look at CJ Abrams. So CJ Abrams right here, he was a first round draft pick in 2019, a very loaded draft class. He was number 6 overall. So height wise, he is 6'2", weighs 185 pounds. So a bit larger than Billy Hamilton. And one reason why I say that is I think CJ Abrams has the opportunity to bulk up a little bit and get more muscle, be able to hit for more power, because that's one of the things that's lacking on his prospect report and also on his stats in the minor leagues. But again, 6'2", there are power hitters that are 6'2", so keep that back in your mind. He can bulk out. So prospect report, 50-70 hitting, so there's big hitting potential over here. Game power 30-50, raw power 45-55, so about average across the board on those. Speed wise, he's at an 80 out of 80. So 80 is the best score that you can get in a prospect report. So that means Abrams is like the 0.1% across everyone. And Abrams is that fast. That's why I'm really excited for him. If he can get called up for the Padres, being on the team that hits extremely well. You have Manny Machado on that team as well as Tatis, two like really, really good hitters in the game of baseball. I'd argue 2 top 20 players overall. Machado statistically, since being called up in 2013, has been a top 10 player. And also Tatis, who everyone is really, really hyped on. So having 2 fantastic hitters on that team, plus you have CJ Abrams, who could potentially lead off, assuming that he hits for average in the major leagues. We'll go over all that a little bit later, but it's really exciting to me on that side of things. Fielding wise, average, below average fielding. We'll see that a little bit below. And you can take a look at his stats. Now in 2019 at rookie ball, Abrams did extremely, extremely well. The one critique I would have is the walk percentage at 6%, but looking at strikeout percentage under 10%, really like that. ISO over 260. You can see 32 games. There's also 14 stolen bases. He's stealing quite a bit down there. 3 home runs. As we said, power is a little bit of lacking. And going over here as well, he had a 401 batting average. Man, we love to see that. I know it's rookie ball, it doesn't fully translate in the majors, but we like seeing a 400 batting average in the minor leagues. And we're seeing a WRC plus of a 189. So absolutely crushed it in rookie ball. Got called up to single A for just 2 games. Can't really use that data, but it's not enough. But in 2021, got called up to double A. Now, unfortunately, Abrams did get injured and had setbacks in double A. So didn't get a full season. And in 2020, there was no minor leagues. But let's take a look at 2021 now, where he played double A. Now he was at the age of 20, again, really young. He played in 42 total games. So if you're looking at a full baseball season, about 162 games, players will usually play about 150 to 160 on average. Obviously, there's some rest days. Sometimes there's some injuries, so it might be a little bit less. But if you multiply that by 4, about 168, a little bit above that. So keep that in mind. Now, only had 2 home runs. So again, with the power issue, didn't have that at all in double A. No power on that side of things. Stolen bases was a bit down as well. 13 compared to 14 in 32 games. Better catchers, better pitchers in double A. So the stolen bases numbers went down a little bit. What I do like is the base on ball percentage went up. I think that's fantastic. We want to see Abrams on the base paths as much as possible because then he can steal. What I didn't like, though, the strikeout percentage is up, and it's up more than double. Now we're at a 19.7%. It's a huge difference between 9% and 19.7%. Again, big difference in the pitchers between AA and rookie ball, but seeing that double is a big red flag in the back of my mind. Again, only 42 games. So it does take time to adjust to different leagues, but I don't like seeing that go up to 20%. And ISO 1.5. We're looking at 261 ISO and 19 to a 123. Again, I don't like that at all. Batting average now is at a 296 compared to 401. So 296 is still solid, really good. If he did that in major leagues, I'd be thrilled. WRC plus is at 112. But looking back at the 19 season, he had 8 triples in those 32 games. Again, great speed, good running on the base paths with those 8. But in AA, we saw 0 triples. So just didn't perform as well in that next level. You can also see down over here as well some more advanced stats if you want to have any breakdowns over here. We want to take a look at the batted ball profile. So in single A, or not single A, but in rookie ball, we saw him pull 42%, center field 30%, and oppo 27%. A little bit heavy on the pull, but still pretty good distribution. But in AA, we see now there's 40% almost opposite field compared to 28% center and 32%. So I do like that breakdown. He's hitting all across. Maybe a little slightly too heavy to opposite, but really good distribution on that side of things. We can take a look at some more fielding stats over here, which again, we're talking about the glove and how there's some issues with it. Well, in 2019, when he played rookie ball, he had 11 errors in 28 games, which horrible, especially if he's trying to make it on major league field. You can't have that many errors. However, in AA, in 33 games, only 4 errors. Still a little bit high across the board with those errors, but we'll see. I don't see him playing shortstop, and the reason why I don't see that happening is because there's Fernando Tatis. Third base is obviously Machado, so we'd have to see him slide into second base or possibly move to outfield. You can see in 21 they did move him to second base for AA, so I hope that is the case. I hope that he does play second base because we need to see him in that San Diego Padres lineup. So when he gets to that lineup, he will have protection. Pitchers are going to have to pitch to them. They can't pitch around them like they might be doing in the minor leagues. Again, all speculative. If they're actually throwing strikes to him or they're throwing elsewhere just because they know he's such a higher prospect. But he's going to have protection in that lineup, assuming that he bats leadoff with 2 really good hitters right behind him. And the Padres also spend a lot of money, so you can add in more bats to that lineup in the future. So what do I think about CJ Abrams? I do think he is a gamble. Rookie ball, fantastic. AA didn't perform as well, but was plagued with injuries and didn't have any playing time in 2020 because of the weird year. So we'll see. He'll probably end up getting called up end of this year or early next year. It also depends on how well he performs in AA this year or possibly AAA. I have some cards of him, but for me, I looked at it as the upside on it. The cards used to be really cheap, not where the prices where they are now. And also at the same time, I wanted to get into a few different prospects. There's another guy I have cards of, which is George Kirby, and I'm going to cover him in another episode. He is a pitcher for Seattle, but he's kind of like Abrams. He stands out compared to everyone else in the prospect crowd. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this video. See you in the next one.